Have you ever felt the gaze of darkness, a cold dread that seeps into your very soul? Welcome to Stillwater, a town shrouded in secrets, where the lines between the living and the dead blur. And at its heart lies Blackwood Estate, a place of unspeakable horrors. Voiceover: Elias Thorne, a paranormal investigator, dared to challenge the darkness to uncover the truth behind Blackwood's sinister reputation. But he soon discovered that some secrets are best left buried, that some doors should never be opened. Are you brave enough to witness the horrors that await? Are you ready to confront the shadows that lurk within Blackwood Estate? Then join us and prepare to face your deepest fears. Subscribe to our channel for more chilling tales of the unknown. Hit that like button if you dare, and leave a comment below with your own encounters with the darkness. Act 1. The Stillwater Echoes. The town of Stillwater, nestled deep within the Appalachian Mountains, held a silence that was more unsettling than any scream. Its residents, a dwindling population of weathered folk, spoke in hushed tones, their eyes darting nervously towards the dense, surrounding woods. They lived under the shadow of the Blackwood Estate, a decaying mansion perched on the highest hill, its history shrouded in whispers and dread. Our protagonist, Elias Thorne, a young paranormal investigator with a reputation for debunking myths, arrived in Stillwater with a mission: to expose the Blackwood Estate as a hoax. The locals had warned him, their voices laced with genuine fear, but Elias dismissed their tales as superstition. He was a man of science, of logic, and he believed that every mystery had a rational explanation. He checked into the only motel in town, a dilapidated building with peeling wallpaper and a lingering smell of dampness. The proprietor, a gaunt man named Silas, eyed him with suspicion, his gaze lingering on Elias's equipment. "You won't find nothing up there," Silas rasped, his voice like dry leaves rustling in the wind. "Just old stones and bad memories." Elias ignored the warning, his curiosity piqued. He spent the rest of the day researching the Blackwood Estate, delving into local archives and historical records. He discovered a string of unsettling events: disappearances, unexplained deaths, and whispers of dark rituals performed within the mansion's walls. The more he learned, the more uneasy he felt, a prickling sensation at the back of his neck. As dusk settled over Stillwater, Elias made his way up the winding path to the Blackwood Estate. The mansion loomed before him, its silhouette stark against the twilight sky. The air grew colder, the silence heavier, as he approached the gates. They were rusted and overgrown, but swung open with a creak as he pushed them. The estate grounds were a desolate expanse of overgrown weeds and gnarled trees. The mansion itself was a Gothic monstrosity, its windows like vacant eyes staring into the gathering darkness. Elias felt a sense of unease, a feeling that he was being watched, but he pressed on, his flashlight beam cutting through the gloom. He entered the mansion through a side door, its hinges groaning in protest. The interior was a labyrinth of dusty corridors and empty rooms, each one colder and more oppressive than the last. He found remnants of a grand past, faded portraits, tattered tapestries, and antique furniture covered in dust sheets. As he ventured deeper into the mansion, he began to hear sounds, faint whispers, the creaking of floorboards, the distant echo of footsteps. He dismissed them as the house settling, but the sounds grew louder, more distinct, until he could no longer ignore them. In a darkened room, he found a hidden door, concealed behind a tapestry. He hesitated, a sense of dread washing over him, but his curiosity compelled him to open it. The door led to a narrow, winding staircase that descended into the depths of the mansion. He followed the staircase down, his flashlight beam illuminating the damp, stone walls. The air grew thick with a musty, earthy smell, and the whispers grew into a chorus of voices, their words unintelligible, but their tone filled with malice. The staircase ended in a circular chamber, its walls lined with strange symbols. In the center of the chamber, he saw a stone altar, its surface stained with dark, dried patches. A cold dread gripped him, a feeling that he had stumbled upon something ancient and evil. Suddenly, the whispers stopped, replaced by an unnerving silence. Then, a single voice, deep and guttural, echoed through the chamber. "You should not have come here," it boomed, its words resonating in Elias's very bones. A figure emerged from the shadows, its form indistinct, its eyes glowing with an eerie light. Elias's heart pounded in his chest, his scientific skepticism shattered by the sheer terror of the moment. He had found what he was looking for, but it was far more terrifying than he could have ever imagined. Act 2. The Blackwood Revelations. The figure in the shadows drew closer, its form solidifying into a grotesque parody of humanity. Its eyes, glowing embers in the dim light, fixated on Elias, and a rasping, guttural chuckle echoed through the chamber. The mask it wore, a macabre visage of bone and shadow, seemed to writhe with a life of its own. Elias stumbled back, his heart hammering against his ribs. He fumbled for his flashlight, but his hands trembled, sending the beam dancing erratically across the walls. The creature spoke, its voice a grating rasp, like stones grinding together in a hollow pit. "You have trespassed upon sacred ground, mortal," it hissed, its words echoing with ancient malice. "You sought answers, but here you will find only oblivion." Elias tried to speak, to reason, but the words caught in his throat, choked by a wave of primal fear. The creature continued, its voice weaving a tapestry of dark tales, of forgotten rituals performed within the estate's walls, of trapped souls and ancient evils. "This place is a gateway," it rasped, its eyes burning into Elias's soul. "Between worlds, where shadows hunger for the realm of the living. You have awakened them, and they demand a sacrifice." The creature extended a hand, and tendrils of darkness, thick and writhing, snaked out from its fingertips, reaching for Elias. He tried to flee, but his legs were leaden, rooted to the cold stone floor. The tendrils wrapped around him, constricting, binding. In that moment, the legend of Blackwood, recounted by the old Silas, flashed through Elias's mind. They spoke of an ancient entity, an evil that fed on fear and despair, an entity capable of shifting forms, but whose true essence was the consuming darkness itself. "I will not yield my soul," Elias cried, summoning a surge of desperate defiance. He struggled against the tendrils, but they tightened their grip, crushing the air from his lungs. The creature's laughter was a chilling, hollow sound like the wind howling through a deserted graveyard. "Your soul is already forfeit," it hissed, its eyes gleaming with malevolent triumph. "You came seeking this, drawn by your arrogance and curiosity." The creature lifted Elias, suspending him above the altar, its eyes burning with infernal light. "Now you will become part of this place," it intoned, its voice a dirge. "Your essence will forever haunt these halls, a testament to the folly of those who dare to disturb the slumbering darkness." As the creature prepared to plunge Elias onto the altar, a surge of adrenaline coursed through him. He remembered the old, tarnished silver locket he always carried, a family heirloom said to ward off evil. With a desperate lunge, he wrenched it from his pocket and held it aloft. The locket pulsed with a faint, ethereal light, and the creature recoiled, its tendrils recoiling. "What is this?" It snarled, its voice laced with fear. "A relic of light," Elias gasped, his voice hoarse. "A reminder that even in the darkest corners, hope remains." The locket's light grew stronger, pushing back the shadows, revealing the chamber's true nature. A place of ancient rituals, of dark symbols etched into the stone, of a malevolent presence that had lingered for centuries. The creature hissed, its form flickering, its power waning. It was bound to this place, to the darkness, and the light was its undoing. Elias, fueled by a surge of desperate hope, pressed the locket closer, forcing the creature back. The chamber echoed with its tormented cries, its form dissolving into wisps of shadow. The darkness receded, revealing a hidden passage behind the altar, a way out. With trembling legs, Elias stumbled towards the passage, leaving the fading echoes of the creature's rage behind. He knew he had only delayed the inevitable, that the darkness of Blackwood would not be so easily vanquished. But for now, he had a chance, a sliver of hope in the suffocating darkness. Act 3. The Lingering Shadow. Elias stumbled through the hidden passage, the silver locket clutched tightly in his hand, its faint glow guiding his way. The passage twisted and turned, descending deeper into the bowels of the Blackwood Estate. The air grew colder, heavier, and the oppressive silence was broken only by the sound of his own ragged breaths. He emerged into a vast cavern, its walls lined with ancient, moss-covered stones. A subterranean stream gurgled through the darkness, its sound echoing through the cavern like a mournful lament. In the center of the cavern, a massive, gnarled tree grew from the stone floor, its roots reaching deep into the earth. As Elias approached the tree, he noticed strange symbols carved into its bark, symbols that mirrored those on the altar in the chamber above. A sense of dread washed over him, a feeling that this tree was the source of the evil that permeated the Blackwood Estate. Suddenly, the ground beneath him began to tremble, and a low, guttural growl echoed through the cavern. The tree's branches writhed, their shadows dancing across the walls like malevolent specters. The creature from the chamber above was not gone, merely weakened, and it was drawing its strength from this ancient, corrupted tree. The creature emerged from the shadows, its form more monstrous than before. Its mask had shattered, revealing a face contorted in rage, its eyes burning with infernal fire. Tendrils of darkness erupted from its back, writhing like serpents. "You cannot escape," it hissed, its voice a thunderous roar. "This place is mine, and you are bound to it, as all who trespass here." Elias raised the silver locket, its light flickering weakly against the creature's overwhelming darkness. He knew he couldn't defeat it with the locket alone. He had to find a way to sever its connection to the tree, to the source of its power. He remembered the old legends, the whispers of ancient rituals and forgotten lore. He recalled the stories of how the Blackwood family, long ago, had made a pact with the darkness, sacrificing their souls to gain power and immortality. They had bound the entity to this tree, this gateway between worlds, and now it was their curse. With a surge of desperate courage, Elias lunged towards the tree, the locket held high. The creature roared in fury, its tendrils lashing out, but Elias dodged them, his movements fueled by adrenaline and fear. He reached the tree and plunged the locket into its gnarled bark. A blinding light erupted from the locket, illuminating the cavern. and a deafening shriek echoed through the air. The tree convulsed, its branches thrashing wildly, and the creature recoiled, its form flickering and dissolving. The cavern began to shake, the walls crumbling, the ground splitting. Elias knew he had to escape, to leave this cursed place before it collapsed. He turned and fled, the creature's tormented cries echoing behind him. He retraced his steps, the passage crumbling around him, the darkness closing in. He emerged from the hidden door just as the mansion began to groan and shudder, its ancient stones groaning in protest. He ran, not daring to look back, as the Blackwood Estate collapsed, burying the creature and its dark secrets beneath the rubble. Elias didn't stop running until he reached the town of Stillwater, the first rays of dawn painting the sky. He found Silas at the motel, his eyes wide with fear and relief. "You made it out," Silas rasped, his voice trembling. "They always come back, those who go up there." Elias didn't reply. He knew he had escaped, but he also knew that the darkness of Blackwood would linger, a shadow in his soul. He had seen the true face of evil, and he knew that it would never truly be gone, merely waiting for the next unsuspecting soul to stumble into its grasp. He left Stillwater that morning, leaving behind the ruins of the Blackwood Estate and the lingering echoes of its dark history. But he carried with him the knowledge that some doors should never be opened, some secrets should remain buried, and some shadows should never be disturbed.